Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, make sure you check us out on Patreon at www.patreon.com/Hookah Anonymous _. You guys been telling us to create one for the longest, so we recently created a community where we will upload videos that we can't share on YouTube due to their guidelines. We'll also be dropping the latest to there first, behind the scenes information that you wouldn't find anywhere else on our socials. So make sure you become a member, and after you do that, head over to our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _ and follow us there. Now without further ado, let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, it's a lot going on in the world today, so when a couple things happen and then another thing happened back to back to back, I don't expect us to remember everything, because at the end of the day, it's too much for our brain to consume in such short time. However, it's been a lot going on, especially in Chicago, but there's a few things that kind of slip, in between the cracks that I feel that we wasn't paying attention to. Now, of course, for various reasons, but one of the biggest ones was the Mellow Buck shooting that happened, which was a mass shooting at her album release party where 18 people were shot and 4 of them was unalived. Then prior to that, one of their ops by the name of Drills was also shot and unalived, and that also started a whole big thing on social media where people was trolling, so forth and so forth. Not to mention potential wars being started, extraterrestrials, presidents this, Elon that. Let's just say, moral of the story, it's a lot going on in the world today. So for things to happen back to back, it's kind of hard to really process everything that's happening all at once. However, something slipped in between the cracks, and I want to get into that. So while everything was going on, an update in Lil Durk's recent case have came about that not a lot of people are talking about, but there have been blog posts, but I feel nobody have explained it the right way. At least I haven't seen. Now, as most of you already know, Chicago rapper Lil Durk have been arrested and charged with M for hire, alleging that he's the mastermind behind the unaliving of Quando Rondo's cousin, Lil Pav. Lil Pav was shot and unalived back in August of 2022 when him, Quando Rondo, and others were ambushed at a gas station in LA. Police had no suspects at first, but y'all know with the culture of today, people can't do anything without letting the world know that they had some type of involvement in it, even if it is crime. With that being said, a certain group of people began throwing subliminals around, hinting that they are the reason why nobody could say slide for Vaughn no more, and basically stating that it's because of Lil Pav situation. And with a bunch of social media evidence on top of whatever else they had, they would arrest oblock members OTF Didi, Vaughn, and 3 others, tying them to the shooting incident involving Lil Pav. I think we all knew it was coming, and they should have as well, when an update was put out that the shooting involved members from a group in Chicago. Because a day or two after that update came out, they were arrested in October of 2024. Now, the update would allege that 5 men went across state lines, traveling to track down Quando Rondo, and they even had surveillance photos showing the cars used to trail the SUV Quando and others were in before stopping at the gas station. It said that when they stopped, the suspects hopped out of a white vehicle, shooting at their target and sped off. After they were arrested, a month later, Lil Durk was arrested in November as he was accused of orchestrating everything from a distance and paying the suspects involved. Now, Durk was also accused of trying to flee the country, having his name attached to many flights to allegedly confuse law enforcement at the time of his arrest, but it didn't work. All it did was worsen his situation and got him labeled a flight risk within that case, which is one of the big reasons they all highlighted when it came to him not receiving a bail, so he has to actually stay incarcerated until his trial. Lil Durk was scheduled for trial in January of this year, but for some reason that haven't been explained to us, it was pushed back all the way until October of this year. Now remember that, because we're going to get back to that, as it's important as to why I think these sealed indictments were actually presented. But aside from the rescheduling of the trial, he was allowed and tried to get a bond until his trial date in October 3 times, and it was denied all 3. Now, a lot of people, including us, found it very, very strange that he was allowed to get 3 bond hearings all in less than 6 months, and the last one he received was just weeks after the one before that. In which, if you know anything about the court of law, that within itself is very, very strange. Now that last bond hearing he had in May, which he was denied in June, with October just a matter of 5 months away, I don't think it makes any sense to attempt to get out anymore, because what we don't see is that those hearings also cost Lil Durk a lot of money. I'm unsure how much, but he does have a team of attorneys working for him and have a celebrity attorney by the name of Finland who labeled himself the $1 billion lawyer. So you must know that anybody going by that moniker must cost a lot, and on top of that, his resume is leveraged within itself, being that he also represented our current president, Donald Trump. So that should just go to show that I'm sure he's nowhere near cheap, and to have to keep paying to appear in the courtroom where you're being denied back to back is basically just expensively draining, because you're wasting money. Now I know it's easier said than done to just tell someone to stay inside when you rather have freedom, like we all will, but if he wasn't able to get out with not 1, not 2, but 3 tries, then I think it's something big of a reason why them people may want to keep him. Now let's get into what I'm actually referring to when it comes to this update that has been put out there concerning this case. Now remember, we said that it was strange that Durk's trial was pushed all the way back so far when he's already been arrested and charged. So what would be the holdup? What would be the reason to reschedule someone's trial all the way from the beginning of the year to almost the end? Keep in mind he was arrested in November of 2024, which will make it almost a year he would have spent in there prior to his trial. Well, it said that a motion of continuance was filed within that case, and both the prosecution and defense agreed on it, stating that more time is needed to prepare. And if you don't know what a motion of continuance is, Google will state that, quote, "A motion of continuance is a formal request from either party to the court asking it to push back a hearing or trial date. A continuance grants a party additional preparation time before or during a trial. Both the prosecution and defense can request continuances, and sometimes even the court can order a continuance of its own accord. Now this motion can either make or break both sides in certain cases, but they both agreed to it, so who knows?" Now according to Google again, when asked why most trial dates are pushed far away from their initial date, it'll say, quote, "The main reason for a trial date to be pushed back is often the need for additional time to prepare, which can include securing witnesses, conducting investigations, or addressing legal issues. Other factors may include overcrowded court schedules or the unavailability of key evidence or witnesses." Now the reason why I laid all that out for y'all is because I want y'all to be familiar what this is, so you can understand why we trying to point out the point we making when we speak on this update concerning Durk's case, as it's been revealed that 27 new documents have been filed under seal in his federal case, which means more than likely the public or anybody else, if I'm not mistaken, including the defense, wouldn't be able to see what's going on, and no names or anything considered as evidence will be redacted. Now that's one way, but another could also mean that somebody is telling. And usually that's what that means, but I'm not going to jump into any conclusions just yet. We're just stating the possibilities. Now right here, as you can see, here's a screenshot of some of the documents filed. Shout out to Rich Rap X, and this is basically showing the documents that were filed supposedly under seal. Of course, it's not detailing what's being sealed, because that's the whole purpose of it being sealed and not touched for public viewing. However, if y'all been paying attention to the old videos we did covering this case, I told y'all that this is how the feds play. When they want you, they come to you with an offer, and once you deny it, it's just straight going to trial. There's no back and forth, no pleading. You either going to take this or you're going to trial. And usually when you go to trial, they come with evidence that you never, ever knew they had. And it throws your defense off because you don't know what they have, so you can't properly prepare. And I think this is why they filed it under seal. Now, when everybody seen the evidence that they had, in which, you know, Durk's lawyer was doing a good job defending him and saying that it doesn't make sense because it was fan-made videos, everybody thought that that was all they had. But like I told y'all before, the feds are not gonna come half-stepping. They just gonna show you the little bit that they have in the beginning, because they don't want to burn everything out for trial. As y'all can see, they brought new whatever they got, and it's sealed, so we don't even know what's going on. And as y'all know, the feds don't come to play because they have a near perfect conviction rate. So they pretty much know what they're doing. Now, speaking of sealed documents, it's almost like karma is coming right back around. Because something that stuck out to me was the fact that if y'all remember the case that Lil Durk had with King Vaughn, where they were hit with attempted M charges for the situation in Atlanta, he also had sealed documents within that case, and it was rumors that he may have cooperated, allegedly. This is because it was said that 2 witnesses pointed Lil Durk out as the shooter, and surveillance caught him on camera, allegedly, followed by him being spotted as the driver of the SUV using the shooting prior. His lawyer argued that Durk wasn't visibly seen during the shooting, and the photo of the arm hanging out the window doesn't determine that it was him, whether he was the driver or not. Fast forward to after King Vaughn's passing, it will come out in 2022 that if Vaughn was still alive, he would have been indicted for the shooting per Fannie Willis. They never really explained why neither, just stated that it was no reasonable evidence against Durk, which was kind of crazy within itself when he was pointed out by the witnesses, and then to find out that certain documents were sealed after the case, it's kind of strange. So being that the case was dropped after Vaughn passed and documents were sealed, some believe that Durk may have put everything on Vaughn because he was no longer here, which some people may say that's a no-brainer to get out of a case, while others still say that it's cooperating no matter how you look at it. Now, with Durk having these sealed documents filed against him, it seems like he continues to suffer hit after hit after hit when it comes to this case. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Now, the feds claim they have surveillance, witnesses, 230 gigabytes of audio and video, text messages, the whole 9 yards. So who knows what they have or who they have? It may include informants, it may not. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. The scarier part is that all these other guys' sentences also was pushed back, and we don't know why. Once again, we'll just have to wait and see. Y'all jump in the comments and let me know what y'all think about all this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'ma keep on dropping. I'm out.